Okay, so last year was basically the year of your album release. So what are you excited to share with your fans this year that you maybe been developing or working on?
This year, since the album came out last year, Billy and I have started to work together more. Now, we have talked about writing, and we have written a song, but it needs some work, and he's written it, and he's actually recorded it, and he's waiting for me to record vocals on it. We performed it on tour, right after we wrote it, and then we have slotted some time to start to record and talk about an album, if not a full album, an EP. We're really excited to work together. He's so talented, and he has so, as I was saying, before with Lisa, he just is like overflowing with, creativity, and that's exciting for me. And I do kind of, I need somebody to kind of mentor me a little bit in the music, because I've been singing for a long time, but in terms of developing skills like songwriting, and even performing music live, all of that's new to me. And everybody at Rockwood has really been major mentors to me, like Paul, Hayden, Emma, Jason. They've really helped me out a lot and taught me a lot, and continue to teach me a lot. So I want to keep working with Billy, and we actually have a song that we're releasing in December, and just as a single, and we'll probably perform that this weekend.
Since you talked about the tour a bit that you did over the summer.
You guys were there?
I wasn't.
you and your people were there.
Do you plan on touring more, having a more extensive tour maybe, as far as your schedule allows? Or?
To say Germany?
I'm not saying
Is
that,
that
but
what you're saying? It was funny, right after the tour, Jason emailed me, and he's very sweet. He's a very good producer. He was like, you should be very proud of yourself. How far you've come. I'm so proud of you, and when is the next tour? He was just like instantly like, let's book this. But what happens for me, because I'm an actor, is that, especially for my first tour, I wanted to do that. I wanted to experience what it was like to tour. I didn't know how to make an album, so I made an album. I didn't know how to tour, so I toured. Now I'm learning how to write songs. I don't think we'll tour again until we have an album. So the album will come first. And I also don't like booking a tour without blocking it off my schedule, meaning I had to turn down a lot of things last year acting-wise so that I could make myself available for that tour. And I need to not do that probably for next year. Maybe, I won't say for sure, but I need to give my management team full availability for a year, so that, because even though it's just for a week, that really does block you off from a lot of stuff. So I got to focus a little bit on acting for 2020 and writing music and maybe an album, but probably won't tour again next year. I don't know, but no plans.
Right, and speaking of songwriting, and also another thing you're passionate about is a lot of talking about female empowerment and kind of women breaking through things in the business that are usually reserved for men. Do you feel like songwriting puts women or female artists in a corner as well? Like they're supposed to write about certain things but not supposed to write about other things? And is that something you
I never
think
thought
about?
That. No, I think it's interesting. I was reading an article about Billie Eilish yesterday, who's 17 and started writing songs when she was 11. And the things that she writes about are things that probably a 17-year-old haven't, publicly hasn't written about, or maybe people would, look down on her writing about that. She writes them anyway, and I love that. And there's a lot of female songwriters who write for men. I don't know what it would be like to write for men. I don't know what it would be like for a man to write for a woman. I only know what it's like to write for myself, and that is writing about my experiences and emotions is simple, and it happens easy. I write, we journal, we do all these things, and basically, for me, songwriting is journaling. But the thing that is challenging for me is to make a song is to make my writing and my thoughts and my emotions into a song that doesn't necessarily on the page make literal sense, but when it comes out in the music, it makes sense. That's what I'm working on right now, is that kind of crossover between, you know, sentences that people can relate to music that people can relate to. Because when you look at a song written out, you know, just the lyrics, it doesn't always make sense, but when you hear it with the music, your heart and your soul becomes attached to that. So that's what I'm focusing on now. And in terms of women and their place in the music, I think that you're seeing a big kind of exciting, you know, I don't want to say uprising, I just want to say, you know, door opening for women, where not only are women being seen more than ever, I think, but women are being seen for their authentic selves, and they're speaking their truths, and what it's doing is it's their audiences are then finding permission for them to step into themselves. And that's something that you know, I've always tried to embody, and it's not something that isn't a challenge for me, but I feel like you guys and the fandom definitely helped me in recognizing that if you step into yourself, then only good things can come from that. And so musically, I think that we're seeing that publicly with performers like Billie Eilish, like Lizzo Beating, people who are just going, I'm tired of not being myself, and so here I am. And I think that's kind of an exciting time in music right now.
It's like you talked about Bishop Briggs before. You've done her covers. Like your new album is just like
so great. I just saw her last week.
I'm seeing her in
Yeah.
December.
Oh gosh, she's so adorable, and she looks like such a badass. And then she's like, oh my god, thank you so much.
Right.
She's super cute.
Are there female artists that you think paved the way for you to move so freely or more freely in the business now, or other artists?
Oh god, there's you know, this summer I saw Heart and Sheryl Crow, and you look at artists like Heart that have been around for decades, and they're still filling stadiums, and I think that, you know, for them, as we're talking about an exciting time for music for women right now, you know, back then it was not exciting, and they had to fight probably a lot of fights that I will never have to fight, that a lot of artists won't have to, and they didn't back down, and they're still here. Sheryl Crow, Sarah McLachlan, you know, I was going to say Alanis Morissette, and I was thinking about Alanis Morissette and how Billie Eilish reminds me of her a little bit, you know, in that kind of irreverent way of like, you know, Alanis Morissette was a little bit more like, I'm fucked up, where Billie Eilish is like, I'm 17, you know? Yeah, I think that, you know, as we, if you are, I think, a smart and good person, you will recognize that you are only as good and strong as the people that have come before you, and you know, everything that I'm able to do as a person in this world is because of the people who have fought the fight before me. So I'm so grateful for that.
And that's what all the fans feel like, I think, with you guys, because you tell us that it's okay to speak up, or that it's okay to demand to have a voice in something, and that's something you've been doing constantly. So I think it's just like a circle for everyone for you guys. That's a great last question. It was the last question. So
that's it.